All right, well, hello there, fans, and welcome to another episode of 162 Times, your daily baseball recap and preview show. I'm your host, Daniel Turner. Great to be with you, as usual. Coming to you on a rainy Wednesday evening in Ottawa, and bringing you the Mariners action from last night. They were playing Game 2 against the hated Houston Astros, and they were doing so from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. So we'll talk about that. We will take a look at today's game. That'll be an afternoon game to cap off that three-game series. But before we do that, we'll look around the majors. We'll do kind of an out-of-town scoreboard and a standings recap because we are really, really getting down to the nitty-gritty here, folks. This is episode 158. 158, 159. 160, 161, 162. So, the Mariners have 4 games left to play. And one of them already happened today. So, really, they have 3 games left to play. They're off on Thursday, and they face the Oakland Athletics at home over the weekend. And that will decide the season. How they'll need to do depends on how the rest of tonight goes around the league and how Thursday goes while the Mariners are off. But let's get into it. Let's talk about last night. So unfortunately last night the Mariners dropped Game 2 of the 3-game series 4-3 to the Astros. 86-72 go the Astros, first in the AL West, and they clinched their 4th straight division title in so doing. The Mariners dropped to 81-77, second in the West, obviously. Framber Valdez got the win, 15-7 on the season with a 2.91 ERA. You can hang your hat on that. Logan Gilbert took the loss, 8-12, 3.33 ERA on the season. Josh Hader, 34th save of the year, 3.6 ERA. 9 hits for the M's, but only 3 runs. 6 hits for the Astros and 4 runs. Gilbert was good as usual. 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, 3 homers. All the runs scored came via the homer against Gilbert. Valdez went 5 2/3, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, and a homer. Then it was Brian Abreu for an inning and a third, and he took 10 pitches to get through an inning and a third. He killed any Mariner rally. That was brutal. 1 strikeout in there. Presley struggled a bit. 1 hit, 1 run in 2/3 of an inning, but the Mariners couldn't cash, and Josh Hader did an inning and a third with 3 Ks. 8 Ks on the night for Houston pitching. Mariners also had 8 Ks courtesy of Gilbert, Thornton, who had 1 in 1, and Munoz, who gave up a hit and had 1 in his inning of work. So it was good pitching by the Mariners, frankly, except for a couple mistakes by Gilbert against a very, very good hitting team. Bregman in the first, 26th of the year, 1-0 Houston. Polanco got it back in the top of the second with his 16th of the year, 1-1. Polanco ended the night 4-for-4 with a run scored and 2 ribbies. He was awesome. Top of 3, Randy Arozarena gave us the lead on a double that scored Julio, 2-1. Jorge then made it 3-1 with a single that scored Cal, 3-1 at that point. But bottom of 4, this was before I started watching. So I was watching the David Chase Sopranos Making of documentary, and the scoring was going well in this game. And then by the time I switched over to the Mariners game, sometime after the bottom of the 4th, after Tucker had made it 3-2 on the 23rd of the year, and so I blame myself for this loss. I should have kept watching other TV because they were doing well. So I will do that for the rest of the way. If I'm not watching the game at the start of the game, I'm just going to leave it alone if it's going well. If it's not, I'll start watching, and maybe that'll change things. But it really changed for me in the top of the 5th. So just as I turned on the TV, and I could only find the Houston broadcast because, of course, Sportsnet, in their wisdom, doesn't want to put a team in a playoff hunt that's in one of their major markets, Vancouver. Frankly, it is. And so they put Game 1 of this series on television with the Root Sports broadcast, but not Game 2 or 3 because people want to watch the Jays and the freaking Red Sox and the Yankees and the Orioles, both of whom already clinched playoff spots. Anyway, don't even get me started. But I find it on a stream, and I can't find the Mariners stream, so I turn it on. It's the Houston stream, and the minute I turn it on, the first thing I see is top of 5, Jason Hayward Cal ropes a ball into left, and it's like over Jason Hayward's head, but he makes a fairly good catch. He makes a fairly good catch and tumbles into like the scoreboard and knocks out this panel on the scoreboard, and he has to get checked out, and it's this big thing, and da-da-da-da-da. And obviously the Houston announcers were going nuts on it. It was really, really frustrating. So I was kind of just like, shoot. Like, I feel like that was just really bad luck right there, that I turned it on at that moment. And then sure enough, next inning, Jason Hayward with a man on homered, 10th homer of the year to give the Astros the 4-3 lead. That was Victor Carantini he scored. And then I described the pitching situation thereafter, which was a little shaky from Presley, very strong from Abreu, and enough to get the Astros the victory. So anyway, Jason Hayward burned us, but it was probably me and my bad luck TV watching that really actually screwed the boys. So really sorry about that, guys. All right, out-of-town scoreboard and wildcard recap before we get to previewing today's matchup. So, unfortunately, last night, the Tigers beat the Rays 2-1. Really annoying. The Guardians beat the Reds 6-1, unimportant. Cubs over the Phils 10-4, unimportant. Brewers over the Pirates 7-2, unimportant. The Royals beat the Nationals in 10 innings, 1-0, unbelievable. So the Royals and the Tigers, who are ahead of the Mariners and occupying wild card spots, won by 1-run squeakers last night, which is just brutal. Orioles beat the Yankees 5-3. Jays beat the Blue Jays 6-5 in 10 innings. Mets lost 5-1 to the Braves. White Sox beat the Angels, 37th win of the year for the White Sox, 3-2 score there. The only good news was that the Marlins beat the Twins 4-1. So the Mariners made up a half game on the Twins, or they stayed in a half game behind the Twins in the wild card, as we'll see in a minute. Rockies over the Cardinals 7-3, and there was a couple other National League games, including the Giants over the D-backs 11-0. Then the Athletics over the Rangers 5-4. That was a walk-off for the Athletics in one of the final games ever to be played in the Oakland Alameda Coliseum. And then the San Diego Padres turned to triple play to beat the Dodgers 4-2 in the 9th inning or the 8th inning, whichever it was. They were on the road, so it would have been in the 9th inning, and clinched a playoff spot. So good for the Pod Squad. Yeah. All right. So, as I said, not the best outcomes in terms of Mariners' playoff picture because the two teams ahead of them won and they lost. So, going into today's action, the Mariners are 2.5 games out of the wild card. They sit at 81-77. The Minnesota Twins are 2 games back at 81-76, so a half game in front of the Mariners. Then there's 2 games separating those two teams from the playoffs, and there sit the Kansas City Royals at 83-74 and the Detroit Tigers at 83-74. So the Mariners have tomorrow and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday to make up 2 games on either the Royals or the Tigers, and also the Twins. So on 2 of those teams, effectively. So tough sledding. It's going to be hard. Basically, they probably got to win all 4. And, yeah, they got to win all 4 and hope that one of those teams, or namely the Tigers or the Royals, lose at least... Look, I'm not great at math, but like at least 2 as well, and then I don't know what the tiebreaker would be, but we'll get into that over the weekend, I think. Anyhow, so yeah, the Tigers and the Royals will be playing. They're playing Wednesday night tonight, as the Mariners are, and then after that, the Mariners are off on Thursday, and then they play 3 games. These other teams are playing tonight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's like the Mariners have 4 games left and everyone else has 5. So more chances for losses for the other teams, basically. I hope you're plenty confused because I am a little bit, actually, after having said that out loud. Anyway, let's tee up tonight's matchup, or this afternoon's matchup, between the Mariners and the Astros. And tee it up we shall. So it is a George Kirby, Raja of Rye, Wizard of Westchester start. The excellent starting pitcher for the Mariners will be taking his 13-11 record into Houston to take on Yusei Kikuchi and his 9-9 record. Former Blue Jay Japanese left-hander Yusei Kikuchi. Folks are familiar with him. The Astros are going to be rolling out Bregman leading off and playing third, Pena at short, Yanni Diaz DHing, Singleton at first, Caratini catching, Hayward in right, Whitcomb will start at second, Dubon will play left, and Myers will be in center field. So Altuve getting the day off after clinching the division. The Mariners side of things, they're bringing out their best lineup. Robles in right, Rodriguez in center, Raleigh at catcher, Arozarena in left, Turner at first, Polanco at second. Okay, maybe not their best lineup. Mitch Garver's DHing and batting seventh. Crawford at short and Moore at third. I don't hate it. So let's hope for good things. It's fingers crossed. It's white knuckle time here. Let's go Ners.